granted, we're not going to be able to live stream today to YouTube because I'm having trouble getting all of that set up. So I want to be mindful of your time. So let's go ahead and get going. I'm Hallie Crawford. I'm a certified career coach, speaker, and author. Our company is based in Atlanta, Georgia, and we are grateful for your time today to talk about leveraging the hidden job market. You all should be able to see my screen. And just as a quick reminder, as we're talking today, everyone will receive a copy of the recording automatically. That will come to you within the next 24 hours or so to the email address that you registered with us for. So let's talk about leveraging the hidden job market, and even more so, how do we leverage this during COVID? So we have been coaching for over 22 years now, and I will tell you that we've never seen an economy like this, where it is a job seekers market, which is good. Employers are looking for qualified candidates, and they're more willing than ever, we have found, to offer different benefits and perks to prospective employees to get them hired, get them on board, and keep them around as well. So just as a quick reminder, I'm a certified career coach and have an undergrad and graduate degree from Vanderbilt and the University of Illinois. I founded my company over 22 years ago when I was living in Chicago, actually, in my late 20s. And we are passionate about helping people do better with their job search. So you're not like the woman on this screen. So let's talk about job searching in general. It's very overwhelming. We totally understand that. When our clients come to us, understandably, they're pretty stressed about job searching and how to put their best foot forward and get in front of hiring managers. Then you overlay, the new technology that's out there, all of the different advice that you can get online, which is sometimes conflicting. And then you overlay everything with COVID and people being laid off and furloughed and all of that. So we totally understand how difficult this can be. And we want you to focus on 3 certain things that we're going to share with you today to help you leverage the hidden job market more effectively. I said a second ago that it's, a job seekers market, and we still have people contacting us though and saying, I keep hearing that it's a job seekers market and everyone is hiring. So why am I not getting a job? There could be lots of different reasons for this. And this is the main reason why we're having our webinar today, because there could be certain things that you need to add to or change your LinkedIn profile with certain keywords, for example. You may need to make some adjustments to your resume, etc. But what we have found is the people that are the most effective are those people that are really, really proactive about networking, about leveraging LinkedIn, and also with conducting informational interviews to try to expand their network, get advice from others, but let as many people know that they're looking as they possibly can. So let's talk first about networking. Most of the jobs out there are secured through what's called the hidden job market, which I'm sure most of you have heard that term before. This is still the case, even though there's all these different, newfangled things like ZipRecruiter and people reaching out to you, or prospective people, employers reaching out to you more so via LinkedIn. Networking is still the #1 way that people tend to get jobs, through a friend or family member or former connection or whatever it is. So it's still a critical piece to your search. I know that some clients have contacted us, or prospective clients, and they get started with us and they say, well, it seems like I can just kind of sit back a little bit more and be passive about it. And we absolutely do not recommend that, because networking is still the best way to get a job, and it will ensure that your job search is faster than it would be otherwise. So sitting back passively, not the way to go. So the hidden job market is, just as a quick reminder, basically it's that group or network, if you will, of unpublished jobs that are out there that people secure through networking, through working with a recruiter, or through an employer or a recruiter finding you through LinkedIn. So employers and recruiters more and more are going out there and seeking out the candidates that they would like to interview versus having to wade through all of these resumes when they post a job opening. And there's different ways that you can tap into what we call, or everyone calls, the hidden job market through networking. We recommend a couple of things, and they're listed on this slide here, 1 through 5. It's a really good idea to try to seek out and identify recruiters who are working on certain positions that you're interested in and connect with them on LinkedIn. Some will be willing to, some will not be. So don't be offended if they're not, but at least try to get in front of them, whether it's on LinkedIn or through their website by putting or submitting your information through their website to get into the database. The other thing that you can do though too is try to connect with or send a message on LinkedIn to hiring managers. So we want you to check out and try to find local recruiters who work within your area that you can connect with and get in front of on LinkedIn, and also find local companies that you want to try to network with and get in front of those organizations and the hiring managers there. The second thing we would recommend that you do is to follow companies that you're interested in and follow recruiters that are local or within your industry as well on LinkedIn and Twitter, because sometimes they will post that they are hiring or a new position that they're hiring for. Number 3, we would suggest that you subscribe to news alerts for the companies or organizations that you're interested in. You could subscribe to their blog if they have one. You could subscribe to alerts if they have them available on their company website. But you could also set up Google alerts for the companies that you're interested in, because they will sometimes tweet about open positions, for example. So subscribe to news alerts through Google Alerts is another way to kind of stay on top of if organizations that you're interested in are hiring. The fourth thing we want you to do is really keep in mind and start to leverage your alumni association and check out their LinkedIn group. Most universities in the past, they would have alumni association networking through their website, for example, and more they're using LinkedIn groups for alumni networking. This is a great place to find new contacts, reach out to people, and they are warmer leads for you than it would be just someone cold on LinkedIn. And then number 5, we recommend that you attend virtual conferences for your industry association or monthly meetings that they have. This is another way to expand your network. Attend virtual networking events or career fairs that are hosted within your area by your city or county or by your alumni association. Networking is a really critical piece, obviously, to the hidden job market. And what we find is not enough people really keep their network fresh. So if we look on the left-hand side here, we want you to make sure that you're either refreshing your network and kind of getting things going again and keeping it fresh on a regular basis. With your network, you want to expand it so that you get upwards of 500 plus connections on LinkedIn. And these are some places that you can identify other people to connect with and network with. Like we talked about earlier, university alumni, check out the online directory if they have it. Otherwise, join your alumni LinkedIn group. Check out colleagues in industry associations. So consider joining associations for industries that you're interested in getting your foot in the door. Members of boards of associations, coworkers in past and present jobs. It's a really good idea to create an Excel spreadsheet that helps you track your networking efforts so you remember who you've spoken to, what was said, and what is the next step in terms of reaching out to that person. We actually like LinkedIn groups to check those out as well. We've had recruiters tell us that when they're looking for a new employee, or a new hire, they will go to their industry-specific LinkedIn group first and check out people there. So branch out to people within LinkedIn groups, and also check out influencers in your industry and see if you can connect with them on LinkedIn. Reference or like some of their or comment on some of their articles. See if you can get attention from people or hiring managers even by following them on LinkedIn or commenting on some of their posts. Peers inside and outside your industry, those are other good networking connections. And in some cases, we recommend to our clients that they consider volunteer work to gain connections, but also add experience to their resume and LinkedIn. Idealist.org is one place that you can find volunteer opportunities, and in some cases, even remote volunteering opportunities. Let's talk next as it relates to networking about your LinkedIn profile, your elevator speech, and online engagement. We want you to make sure that your resume and LinkedIn profile are in tip-top shape, obviously, because once you start networking with people, they're going to look at you on LinkedIn and they're going to ask for your resume. So you want to make sure you have both of those ready. You want to make sure you've got your elevator speech ready to go, because that's part of what you can use to make the introduction to new people, especially cold connections. And we want you to enhance or increase your online engagement. So one of the things you can do to be more visible on LinkedIn is to share or write articles on LinkedIn, comment on other people's posts, share inspirational quotes. The articles and information don't have to be that long, but if you just share something to get in front of other people and update your feed, that is a good thing. And we want you to set a schedule for yourself for online engagement. What are you going to do once a week in order to increase your online engagement on LinkedIn, again, to enhance and increase your visibility? When we talk about informational interviews in just a moment, because we're going to get to that in a second, it's a really good idea to start, get prepared to conduct those, obviously, with all of your materials, like we said. And what we are finding these days is for informational interviews, do a video informational interview. If the person is not comfortable or if it's not that feasible to do in-person networking, video networking is completely acceptable, and phone call if the other person prefers that too. And when we start to talk about informational interviews in just a second here, it's a great idea to practice those on friends and family first to get your sea legs, then you can go from there. Let's talk next about LinkedIn and get into a couple of details here as it relates to LinkedIn and the hidden job market. So obviously, the three really important things about LinkedIn is making sure your profile is up to date and as you want it to be, making sure that you're networking and staying in touch with your connections and in front of them. And again, like we said, sharing useful information on a regular basis and participating in groups. We would recommend not just including a photo on LinkedIn, but also add an introductory video so that people can get to know you a little bit better. You can keep it short and sweet. It needs to be less than like 60 seconds for sure. And it can include your elevator speech and a very brief career history, as if someone was asking you, like, tell me about yourself, or background about your company or organization if you're promoting your organization for whatever reason. Photo and video requirements. You obviously want everything to look very professional, have a clean background, make sure everything, you're smiling and warm. We want you to absolutely have a branded image behind your headshot for your banner, okay? It could be a nature scene, your city skyline, something relevant to your industry. And we want you to brand it. And I'll show you an example in just a moment here. Actually, I'll just move to this really quickly and then I'll come back. So this is what we're talking about as a branded banner. This is one that was created for one of our clients by our LinkedIn consultant that works with us. The branded banner has an image that's relevant to your industry. She works in veterinary pharmaceutical sales. So it's an image of a dog. And you want to have a title here, like what your either current job title is or what you're going for, and also a tagline as well. If anyone would like more information about our low-cost LinkedIn packages to help you create this banner, but also search engine optimize your LinkedIn profile. When you do that, that is how people are more likely to find you and ask you for interviews, because you've search engine optimized not just your banner, but your header right here, as well as your about section. Let's talk about your About section just for a moment here. The summary in your About section, it can be personal, it can be first person. You can speak in more informal language if that is the style, if you will, of your profession. If you're in a profession that's more formal, stick to more formal third person. Use keywords and search engine optimize your profile so employers and recruiters will find you. And two of the things that we find our clients forget often on the right-hand side is go get those recommendations. They're really helpful to have on your LinkedIn profile, and you can use them in a lot of different places on your resume and your cover letter. You can sprinkle them throughout your LinkedIn profile. And then finally, we want you to make sure that you update your settings and your skills section too. Some people forget to have all of their profile be completely visible, and sometimes they forget to say, yes, I want to be contacted by recruiters and employers. So make sure that your settings are all in the place that you want them to be, or updated, if you will. In terms of LinkedIn etiquette and trying to network with people, if you want to contact a second or third connection, always first ask that connection in between the two of you to make the introduction. It's going to be much more likely that that third person will get back to you versus just reaching out to them directly. Make sure, obviously, that when you ask to connect with someone, that you send an invitation and let them know clearly why you want to connect. What's the purpose of the connection? Because they're more likely to connect with you and not just ignore it. We talked already about keeping up with your network. It's a really good idea to use LinkedIn notifications for lots of different things, any achievements or classes that you've taken. Make sure that you're responding to your LinkedIn messages, not just weekly. I would actually change this here, but make sure you're checking it every other day, because if you don't get back with someone, you may miss an important opportunity because you took too much time to respond. Make sure that you're creating new connections on a regular basis. You write recommendations for other people as well. And we already talked about joining and participating in LinkedIn groups, because that can be a really great way to enhance and expand your network. When you're thinking about LinkedIn groups, be selective with them. Don't just join 10 and then never participate or read any of the feeds there. Be selective. Make sure that you're choosing ones that are active and people are actually paying attention to. Commit to participating in them, provide valuable information, but also ask questions in there. You may get some advice, and we have actually had people make really good, solid networking connections within their LinkedIn groups and conduct informational interviews with people that they've met in LinkedIn groups as well. If you feel like you need help with any of this, writing your elevator speech, help with search engine optimizing your LinkedIn profile, anything else, we are always here to help. Feel free to reach out to us, admin@halliecrawford.com, to schedule a free consult. I'd be happy to chat with you further about our services and give you some advice to help you out for suggested next steps as it relates to coaching with us too. Let's talk about our third and final tip for today, and this is informational interviews. These are a one-on-one conversation with someone who works in an industry you'd like to work in a role or at an organization that you're interested in, okay? So they can serve a lot of different purposes. So look for people within your industry, within your role that you'd like, or even at an organization and you want to talk to them a little bit more about what it's like to work there. Here are some things that explain to you what an informational interview is. What it gives you, like insider kind of the dirt, what's going on there, what that company or organization is looking for in terms of hiring people and the right keywords. It also will give you an inside perspective to things maybe that you should be putting on your resume or who the hiring manager might be. It helps you expand your network, obviously, too. You want to be careful with informational interviews that you don't go into them saying, oh, I'm looking for you to help me get a job. That's not the way to go. They're less likely to get back with you if you say that. You want to tell them that you're looking for any general advice they might have about your search and how to put your best foot forward in your search. If we look at this next slide here, these are possible connections that you can leverage to conduct informational interviews. Lots of different options here. Friends, family members, former coworkers, alumni association members, etc. We would recommend, in an ideal world, if you can do a video conference with someone, you'll make a stronger connection with them. But worst case, if it needs to be phone, that's fine too. In person is even better. But these days, it's a little bit hard to get people in person, and we understand that. Ask them whatever works best for them and go along with whatever that is, because you're taking their time and you want to be flexible for them. When you're setting up your informational interview, let them know you're looking for information, not a job. Make sure that you send them the 4 or 5 questions that you want to ask them in advance. This way, they'll be able to prepare and they feel better about that you're not going to talk their ear off for a full hour. They know that you're organized and, have your act together. Let them know you intend to keep it brief. Make sure that you keep track of time when you're conducting the informational interview. And just in case, have more than 4 or 5 questions prepared in advance, because they may give you more time than you expect and you want to be ready to go, okay? With informational interviews too, hold on, let me get to this next slide here. Excuse me. When you're trying to contact someone to set this up, the basic email formula is here. You want to introduce yourself, let you know how you found them, let them know what you're, asking for is about 10 to 15 minutes of their time. Give them times that you are available. Don't make them go back and forth and hunt and peck in their calendar. Make it easy for them. And if it's phone or, Zoom or whatever it is, again, you call them or you initiate the call. Make it as easy on them as possible because, again, you're the one that is asking for the time and needs something from them versus the other way around. So this is the basic email formula. You want to make sure your subject line is catchy and will get their attention as well so that they'll respond to you. And this is the email template that we provide to our clients that gives them just a quick summary and brief example or sample of what they can send to prospective networking connections to ask them for an informational interview. If we take a look at the next slide, here are some of the questions that you could ask depending on who the person is that you're talking to and what they can help you with that you could be asking during an informational interview. You may want to know a little bit more about what does a typical day on the job look like because you're trying to figure out a little bit more if this would be the right place for you to work. If you're in total job search mode, you can be asking, how can I put my best foot forward in my search? What are companies looking for? What are keywords you might recommend, that people are tossing around that I need to make sure I add to my material? And then finally, when you're setting up and preparing for your informational interview, you want to make sure that at the end, you're always asking them, how can I help you? Is there anyone else you think it would be helpful for me to speak to? And ask them if you can stay in touch with them and what's the best way to do so. That way you're kind of designing your follow-up with them and they're not surprised by it, but you also are showing that you're proactive. And this is the type of employee that you would be if you were hired. Finally, you want to stay in touch with not just your your informational interview, the people you've conducted those with, but stay in touch with your network in general too. With informational interviews specifically, take a look at the left-hand side here. Immediately, we want you to email, and we would recommend sending them a handwritten thank you note. That's a lost art, so to speak, these days, and it will get you noticed. Send them your resume if it's appropriate to do so, if that came up in conversation. And make sure that you connect with them on LinkedIn if you're not already connected. People tend to forget that. If they send you a referral, make sure that you follow up with those referrals immediately and keep each person posted on your progress along the way. It's a really good idea with your network in general to check in every 2 or 3 months approximately, depending on what you've discussed with them. Send them an article, send them an inspirational quote, update them on connections that they've made for you, etc. These are some different ways and ideas that you can stay in touch with your network in a gentle yet persistent way, where it's, you're staying on top of it and reminding them of who you are, but you're not being too much of a stalker, because we got to be careful about that, obviously, too. Finally, before we close for today, just as a quick reminder, you will receive a copy of the recording. Give us about 24 hours. I can't remember exactly when that automatically goes out, but you will receive that. And we want you to walk away today with at least one specific action step that you can take from being here, whether it's updating your LinkedIn profile, setting up one informational interview to just get that ball rolling. We know that first one can feel a little bit more nerve-wracking than anything else, but once you get one done and off your plate, I promise you will feel so much better about continuing on. And we highly encourage you to set up a complimentary strategy session with us to talk with us more about our coaching services and how we can assist you, whether it's a brand new LinkedIn banner, search engine optimizing your profile, or what you need to be saying to get in front of people and get creative with that, because we've got lots of different ways that we help our clients with to get in front of prospective employers. Thank you so much for your time today, everyone. We're almost at the top of the hour, and we greatly appreciate your time and attention. We are here to help. Please check out our website, our blog. We've got lots of great articles that we post really frequently there. And have a great day, and we wish you the very best of luck with your job search. Have a good one. Bye-bye, guys.